In 2017, the WWE produced a mockumentary about a fiction wrestling company from the 1980s. Southpaw Regional Wrestling. It ran for 2 seasons. The seasons revolve around 2 fictional events: Lethal Leap Year on February 29, 1987, and Showdown at the Swamp 1 year earlier on August 16, 1986. In this video, we are going to talk about the first season, Lethal Leap Year. 29 wrestlers and personalities appeared in the show, most of them portraying a second layer of a character on top of their WWE gimmick. A gimmicked gimmick. A gimmick inside of a gimmick. Southpaw Regional Wrestling is Gimmickception. For example, a man named Matthias Clement who portrays a character named Tyler Breeze, portraying a character named Mr. Mcelroy. Another one, a man named Miroslav Barniashev who portrays a character named RUSEV, portraying a character named Big Bartholomew who is now known as Miro. Full circle Gimmickception. A sad note from Southpaw in light of current events is the sad realization that a lot of the performers who made this show possible are no longer with the company. In total, 29 wrestlers and performers participated in Southpaw Regional Wrestling, and of those 29, 10 were released since then. Almost all of the performers in Season 1 no longer work for the WWE. And that sucks, because this show was heavily ad-libbed, and a lot of the most underused talent in the roster really had an opportunity to shine and be entertaining with Southpaw. When a show like this is done, it's the result of a team effort, and losing a third of your creative power does not bode well for any company.
I will be mentioning if a wrestler is not with the WWE currently, throughout the video. If I don't say anything about said wrestler being released, said wrestler is still under contract with the WWE as of late July 2020, maybe.
Lethal Leap Year. Leap Year, the elusive event that adds a day to the calendar, February 29th, and happens once in every 4 years, because the Earth refuses to rotate around the Sun in precisely 365 days. Spoiler alert, in Southpaw no one checks the calendar, and in 1987 there was no leap year, as it's discovered in the very last moments of the first season.
There is no leap year!
Formula for the show is the 2 announcers, CHETT CHETTERFIELD and LANCE CATAMARAN, react to different characters and promote Lethal Leap Year. CHETT CHETTERFIELD is a balding wrestling announcer with a bad comb-over, who is deeply affected by his girlfriend breaking up with him, the yet unseen Susan. Spoiler alert, Susan is revealed on the 2nd season to be Renee Young doing her best 1980s Aquanet hair impression, but more on that later. And by later I mean whenever I do a video about Season 2 of Southpaw. Also, subscribe. CHETT is played by Fandango, one half of the Fashion Police Breezango tech team with Tyler Breeze. Breeze also stars in Southpaw as the evil Mr. Mcelroy. More on him later. Fandango is best known for that 2-month span when he was insanely over with the fans, for his dancing gimmick. He was so over that he had a singles match with Chris Jericho on WrestleMania 29, which he won, and this is rare because before WrestleMania became a 2-night event, not many wrestlers had the opportunity to have a singles match at WrestleMania, and some never did despite having long careers with the WWE. Lance Catamaran is a washed-up former newscaster whose claim to fame was ringing the news in Utica, New York. This is a running gag on the show. Lance longs for his former happy days as a serious journalist and is the foil for most of the jokes in the show. Lance is played by John Cena, and well, he's Cena. You know who Cena is, right? He's in Bumblebee. He's retired unless Vince McMahon asks him to come back for something. Last seen, WrestleMania 36. Firefly Funhouse match.
This is such good shit.
Lance and Chet are not the only non-wrestling characters we get to see in the first season of Southpaw. There is also interviewer Clint Bobsky and referee Chip Anderson. Clint Bobsky, short for Cameron as revealed in Season 2, only has a job because he's the nephew of the owner of the station. He is a colorful character who has a very nice jacket, and he is also the foil for the antics of the wrestlers he is interviewing, much like the late great Mean Gene Okerlund.
Okay, very good. Ric Flair, you have made world... Put that cigarette out.
Bobsky is played by Chris Jericho, Le Champion, the chameleon of professional wrestling, the gift that keeps on giving, the GOAT. He left the WWE in 2017 shortly after Southpaw, and went on to do some of his best work in New Japan Pro Wrestling and AEW. Chip Anderson, Southpaw's ref, is described as being blind and deaf. Fun fact, Armageddon 2005, there was another Chip, George Chip, who is a boxing referee for Pewter and Miz Dixie Dogfight. If this is a reference to that, that would be great. Chip is played by John Cone, who was the referee for the main event of WrestleMania 33, between The Undertaker and Roman Reigns. His son is Nicholas, the little boy who won the tag team titles with Braun Strowman at WrestleMania 34. There are 4 confirmed matches booked to happen that Little Leap Year. A Battle Royale with 12 people. A match for control of a farm. A tag team match of which one of the teams is unknown. And a grudge match between the former members of a tag team. Wrestling trope alert indeed. 12-man Battle Royale. Only 3 participants are shown from the 12 the show mentions are participating. There's the champion John Johnson, a generic mustachioed wrestler that Clint Bobsky mentions needs charisma.
A little bit more charisma.
Lost a very tiny title that Chip the referee found in the trash in another city Southpaw had an event. John Johnson doesn't say much.
It's just John. And I'm ready for a fight.
Played by TJ Perkins, who won the Cruiserweight Classic and became the inaugural Cruiserweight Champion, ahead of 205 Live's new show debut. Remember how cool TJ was back in 2017? One of the best entrances ever. TJ Perkins was released on February 22, 2019. Another participant in the Battle Royale is generic trope Mexican wrestler La Barba Grande.
Arriba!
He is George the Animal Steel Harry. Wears a mask and is shown in the rundown underbelly of an undisclosed location. Perpetrates gimmick infringement by stealing Tito Santana's catchphrase.
Arriba! Arriba! Arriba!
La Barba Grande is played by Luke Harper, aka AEW's Brody Lee.
40,000 fucking emails! 40,000 fucking emails! This is such good shit!
Former member of the Wyatt family. Usually regarded as a great wrestler by his fans and peers. Released late 2019 and is now the Exalted One, the Vince McMahon-inspired leader of the Dark Order. Third participant in this 12-man Battle Royale is none other than impressive Pelvic Wesley, the classic Elvis impersonator 80s wrestling gimmick a la Honky Tonk Man. HEATH SLATER. We all have those wrestlers that we like, despite the company shitting on them all the time. HEATH to me is underrated. Remember when he was on Raw every week facing the legends? Remember 3MB? Remember the Social Outcasts? Remember when he had kids?
This is such good shit!
Guess what? He was fired too. April 15, 2020, a date that lives in infamy. Black Wednesday for WWE wrestlers. Showed up on Raw sometime later in a storyline involving former bandmate Drew McIntyre, and also appeared on Impact Wrestling's pay-per-view Slammiversary, although it's unclear if he signed to either company at this time. Pelvic Wesley mainly shields merchandise with a thrusting pelvis. Phone number that appears to potential customers is Klondike 5. Also mentioned is that it may cause ringworm. This is a reference to Klondike Bill, WCW's ringmaster, the man in charge of assembling and taking the ring to wherever WCW was holding events. According to some legend, but mostly to podcast What Happened When, starring Tony Schiavone and Conrad Thompson, Klondike Bill was a very sexually enticed individual, going as far as inserting women's undergarments that he found in hotel parking lots in his mouth. Glass bottom boat rides, indeed. In between the wrestler skits, WWE runs ads at least once every episode. WWE somehow was able to get a sponsor for Southpaw, and it's sponsored by
Woo, crispy.
Woo Crispy,
Woo, tangy.
Woo Tangy,
Woo, honey mustard, barbecue flavor.
Woo Honey Mustard KFC Georgia Gold Chicken. Respect the hustle. Voiceover for this advertisement is done by the nature boy Ric Flair, who on screen is mentioned to be the voice of an impersonator and not a real man.
No, seriously, this is not Ric Flair.
This is such good shit.
Second match mentioned on the show is Big Bartholomew accompanied by Christian Joy. He is wrestling the Sea Creature. Who is managed by the evil banker man Mr. Mcelroy, who always struggles with his mustache. The story of this match is Mr. Mcelroy bought the farm Big Bart owns, and now is challenging Big Bart to take it back from him. Rusev is in excellent form in the promos he cuts in broken English.
Yep. This week in the Rumble in the Leap, I'm gonna fight for the chickens on my heart. When they had nothing. Yep. Back in the 1900s, we eat chickens and they work hard. Yep.
Portraying a patriotic wrestler despite having a thick accent.
This is such good shit.
Bartholomew signs the contract thinking he's facing the banker. He is in fact challenging the Sea Creature. Classic. Great character debut by the Sea Creature.
From the sea! This is such good shit.
Big Bart is played by Rusev, who once made an entrance in a fucking tank. Also was severely underused. He had a holiday named after him, along with Aiden English. Sadly, on Black Wednesday, he too was released. Christian Joy is played by Lana, who is still with the WWE. Last I checked, she was with Bobby Lashley. MVP was somehow involved too. Anyway, card subject to change.
I want a divorce.
The identity of the individual behind the dollar store costume is still unknown. Speculation is abound. Names of Aiden English, Cesaro, and even Randy Orton are rumored to be the man behind the horrendous costume. Mr. Mcelroy is played by Tyler Breeze, who had the most heelest gimmicks while being a total babyface to the audience. Tyler wrestled Jushin Thunder Liger at NXT TakeOver, and as part of the Fashion Police with his partner Fandango, had some great and entertaining backstage promos and matches on SmackDown. Debuting in this event of monumental proportions is the new and upcoming tag team, the Surfer Dudes, with attitudes. The identity of their opponents is sadly not disclosed. Classic generic surfer gimmick a la early 1990s Sting, played by Connor and Victor of the Ascension. These two had some level of success in NXT, then they went to the main roster and unfortunately were treated mostly as enhancement talent. The two men are WWE veterans, however. Connor was with the company for 15 years, with a brief interruption between late 2007 to July 2010. He had a multitude of gimmicks, and Victor had been with the company since 2011. They were released in 2019 after sitting at home for the better part of a year. Fourth and last match is the explosion of a former tag team in a violent conflict, as former friends become foes. A wrestling trope alert, a tale as old as time itself, told in many different ways, one's great and one's not so great. Tex Too Bad first member is Tex Ferguson, played by Luke Gallows, a man named Drew Hankinson who portrays a character named Luke Gallows portraying a character named Tex Ferguson.
This is such
Tex is the Fed's version of the character Gallows has been doing in various forms for many years, such as Colt Cabana's Wrestling Road Diaries, a DVD of a tour Cliff Cabana and Gallows went on, and Wake Up Time to Die with Sex Ferguson, a high spot show with host Cliff Compton. Gallows does the character Sex Ferguson for almost 2 hours, and it's very entertaining.
Let me see if I can work with you or not. Lock up with me?
Christ almighty.
Jesus Christ, kid! Kayfabe is dead!
Gallows is a career veteran best known for being Fake Kane, Festus, and one half of Gallows and Anderson. The other half of Tex Too Bad is Chet Too Bad, which in this case is 180 degrees of kayfabe. Kayfabe so deep, it comes back to reality. A man named Chad Allegra, who portrays a character named Karl Anderson, portraying a character named Chet Too Bad.
This is such good shit!
Known outside of the WWE as Machine Gun, Karl Anderson, Karl is a G1 Climax 2012 finalist and multiple tag team title holder in various different promotions. Chad is jealous of Tex because he can't afford the finer things in life, such as a sweet 1978 Chevrolet Camaro, sweet blue tights, and wonderful and fabulous cowboy boots, and apparently Tex also stole some dates from Chad. Jokes on Tex because Chad has a sweet new green jacket. Then is revealed that Chad is dating Susie, Tex's former girlfriend, with whom Tex has a baby boy named
A son named Terry G.
Fun fact, Terry Jean is actually Hulk Hogan's real name, Terry Jean Bollea. Chad sends Bad News Allen to blind poor Tex in one eye, and it doesn't end there. Chad then sends Freddie Blassie to take care of Tex's other eye, rendering the man blind. Freddie Blassie's legit gimmick was to file down his teeth to bite his opponent in the forehead, causing them to bleed. Now that's commitment.
This is such good shit!
Tex promises a big boot and a lariat to Chad at Little Hippier. Lariat! The story further develops when Greg the Hammer puts poor Tex in an armbar for 2 hours, causing immense pain to Tex and rendering his right arm useless. Chad arrives in the scene with words of caution. Tex is so physically devastated that he thinks he's hearing voices. Chad is standing just next to Tex. Chad steals his crutch and threatens Tex, and it all ends at Little Hippier. Tex sobs uncontrollably. His sobbing sounds heard through the rest of the episode.
Oh, what am I gonna do?
For God's sakes, man. Can you hear that? Can you hear that?
This is such good shit!
Summer of 2019. Gallows and Anderson were on their final stretches of their WWE contract, and they were happy to go somewhere else. WWE really wasn't using them to the best of their abilities, and were in fact barely using them at all. They had left their previous promotion, New Japan Pro Wrestling, in 2016 and had been with the WWE ever since. When it came time to make a decision to leave or stay in the WWE, Gallows and Anderson had multiple offers from all other wrestling promotions. Impact, AEW, who at the time wasn't even airing Dynamite yet, and the company they had done their best work in, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Ultimately, they decided to stay with the WWE. They signed a 5-year contract and they reformed as a group with their longtime friend, Uncle Alan. They were repackaged as the OC, but not the 2000 show. The OC meaning the original club. They were part of the main event of WrestleMania 36, and in a surprising dick move, WWE released Gallows and Anderson in the middle of a pandemic. Black Wednesday, April 15th, 2020. Up until March 2020, WWE was radio silent on anything Southpaw related, until a short teaser appeared on WWE's YouTube channel. The teaser mentions release date sometime in the summer, but due to current events it's unclear of when the 3rd season of Southpaw is going to be released, or if it's going to be released at all. Fingers crossed though. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like, subscribe and leave a comment of your favorite moment from the 1st season. Thank you for watching, see you next time.